Okay? So, the first two are simple because they have a common denominator. So 5 minus 3 is 2. Remember, the bottom stays the same.
Do you want to simplify?
Yeah. So then what does that make? 1/2. 2/5 plus 4/5 is 6/5. 1 1/5. So this one,
Put a six.
Dude, put a 1 under the 6.
make a 5 and 6/6 minus 1/6.
Why?
Because.
Because it has a common denominator now.
So I just borrowed from here and made it a 5, and then I got 6/6, because 5 and 6/6 is the same as 6, right?
So 5 and 5, 6.
Right, so 6 minus 1 is 5/6, and then it's 5 and 5/6.
You can choose sim. No, you
Okay,
can't.
this will pay together.
Never mind. Never mind.
7, again, it's a simple one. It's got a common denominator. So that answer is 2/5.
40.
Now we get to the ones where we have to get a common denominator. Someone said it?
40.
40. So change that bottom to 40 and this bottom to 40. Now it's a subtract problem. Change the sign, change the sign. So they're both negatives, which mean you're going to actually add them together and keep the negative, right? So we're actually going to add these two. 5 times 8 makes 40, so take this times 8. You get 32. I took this times 5, so take that times 5.
35.
And remember, they are both negative. So my answer is going to be negative 67/40, which is negative 1 and 27/40. Because 40 goes into 67 one full time, and then there's 27 left over. Okay, add problem, but the signs are different, so what do you actually do?
Take the sign of the greater number.
Subtract and keep the sign at a bigger number. So you got to take the bigger one. First of all, get a common denominator. It's 24, right?
Yep.
3 goes in there 8 times, so take that times 8. 8 goes in there 3 times, so take that times 3. So the 9, this is actually bigger. The 9/24 is bigger. So remember, the rule is you got to subtract them, right? Take the bigger one minus the smaller one, and you get 1/24. And the bigger one is positive, so the answer is positive.
This is confusing.
Okay, again, an add problem, but the signs are different, so you actually have to subtract them. You take the bigger one minus the smaller one. Now, you can kind of tell the 9/5 is going to be the bigger one, right? So, common denominator would be 15. 5 goes in there 3, so take 27. 3 goes in there 5, so take that times 5, you get 20. And remember, you have to subtract them, because the signs are different. 7/15, and is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, because the bigger number is positive. Okay,
We're doing all this?
yeah.
Blake is
So
doing it to me.
here, it's a subtract problem, but it's just a normal one because this number is bigger than that one. So you don't need to use your subtract rule. So get a common denominator, which is
40.
so 5 times 8, so take that times 8, 72. 8 times 5, so take that times 5, 25. So we got to subtract these two. 72 minus 25. 7, 47. 40ths.
That is 1 and 7/40.
1 and 7/40ths.
So good.
Now we get to the mixed numbers. This one's actually an easy one.
Yeah, it is.
They're both, it's an add, they're both negative, so you just add them up.
-3 and 2/5.
-3 2/5. Because remember, you add the numbers, 1 and 2 is 3, and there's only one fraction. So remember, when you add two negatives, you keep the
I
sign.
just wrote -225.
Okay, here they have a common denominator. It's an add problem, but the signs are different, so you actually got to subtract them. So I got to take, I always like writing it down, you don't have to, whatever you prefer. To me, it's easier to do it this way. 6/7 minus 1/7 is 5/7. 3 minus 1 is 2. Keep the sign at a bigger number.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay, 21 again is a common denominator. The signs are different, so you actually have to subtract. So the 2 1/3 is bigger than 1 2/3, so you take that one first. Now this is the one I showed you over there. You can't subtract this, right? Because this is smaller than that fraction. So you have to borrow. Borrow 1 from there, and then what you end up doing is you just add the bottom to the top. 3 plus 1 is 4. Because 1 and 4/3 is the same as 2 and 1/3. Now we can subtract 4/3 minus 2/3 is 2/3. 1 minus 1 is nothing. And is it positive or negative? Positive. The bigger number is positive. Okay, add problem, both of them are negative, so when the signs are the same, you add them up, but we need a common denominator, 8. 16 would work, so I gotta take 1 and 7/8 plus 3, and I gotta change that to an 8. I gotta take it times 4 to make it 8, so take that times 4. So remember, you add them up, and then you keep the sign. So the answer will be negative. 7/8 plus 4/8 is 11/8. 1 plus 3 is 4. So it's negative 5 and 3/8, right? Because 11/8, remember, is 1 and 3/8. Combine that with the 4 to get the 5. Subtract problem. So what do you got to do? Change the sign, change the sign. So you've got a negative and a positive, which means you've got to subtract. This one's bigger, so you take 2 and 5/6 minus 1 and 1/4.
12.
12 is a common denominator. 6 goes in there twice, so take that times 2. 4 goes in there 3, so take that times 3. So we would have 10/12 minus 3/12 is 7/12. 2 minus 1 is 1. Positive or negative? Negative, because the bigger number is negative. Okay, is this the last one?
Yeah, 27.
Okay, subtract problem. So change the sign, change the sign. They're both positive, which means we just got to add them up. 1 and 2/5 plus 3 and 3/4. Common denominator is 20. 5 goes in there 4 times, so take that times 4. 4 goes in there 5, so take that times 5. So 8 plus 15 is 23/20. 1 plus 3 is 4. 3/20. because this turns out to be 1 3/20. So add the 1 on top 4 to get 5 3/20. Okay,
Can we do all of
That was
you can do all of the rest.
What?